In this video, I'm gonna get back to ghosts, my beliefs and all that. Now, there's gonna be quite a few of my viewers that say, James, you've covered that quite a bit. Yeah, I have. But it's something that it's interested me for a long time, along with quite a few other things. I'm pretty broad-minded. I like to, keep my horizons pretty broad, my subject matter pretty broad. Now, there's probably a handful of my viewers that have joined me more recently and probably never they don't know the questions I ask on this. But anyway, now a lot of the videos, people will see ghosts and it frightens them. Now, I've never actually seen a ghost, but I've certainly interacted with them. I've had them mess with my equipment. I've had voltmeters where they would, you know, for either deliberately or accidentally would interact with it. Where it wouldn't work when I went to use it. It would just go off range, and then later it would work fine. I've had that, not a lot, but I've had a few times, and I've certainly had lots and lots of stuff hidden. And then when I asked, I've covered while my cell phone was hidden. That's been 4 or 5 years ago. Was I ended up on a shelf here, where neither me nor anyone else would have put it. And I had an envelope. I had money in there. It was in the cab of my pickup. So this has been quite a number of years ago, and I certainly don't use this hiding place for money anymore. But anyway, the last the ghost, I said, would you return the money? And of course they did. I think they're just trying to get my attention. Now, the one thing, now there are these people that say, well, let me phrase this in the right way. There's like the hardcore scientists, the hardcore atheists. Now, I don't mean to disparage the scientists because I'm sure lots of scientists are they believe we have a soul, they believe we have an afterlife, and just non-scientists, they're probably atheists. So the two are not mutually, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, now, I mean, either you believe we have a soul, you believe that ghosts are real, or you believe that we don't have a soul, and after death, that's it. It lights out. There's nothing else. Now, I've asked this question of my viewers. Now, which do you find more frightening? Seeing a ghost, knowing that there is an afterlife, knowing that our souls continue. I mean, I think personally, I think we have a choice. We can come back to the ghost. We can stay earthbound, or we can go into higher astral planes. For me, I'd prefer to go into higher astral planes than get on with my afterlife. I think only a few people chose to stay earthbound. Which do you believe is more frightening? Seeing a ghost and knowing there is a afterlife, or believing that we're just meat puppets, we're just meat sacks, there's nothing else after that? To me, that's got to be the most frightening thing, to believe that that once we're no longer breathing air, once our hearts have stopped breathing, our brains have stopped working, that's it. There's nothing else. To me, that's some of the most frightening things, and I don't personally believe that. I believe we have a soul. I believe we have an afterlife. Now, for me, seeing a ghost, yeah, the initial actually seeing one, there'd probably be a shock factor. I'm sure there would be, but I'd get over it. I'd want to be interacting with that ghost, asking a few key questions. Who were they? Why are they staying earthbound? Trying to convince them, hey, you've got loved ones on the astral plane that are probably looking for you, probably waiting for you, stuff like that. I'd try to interact with them. And I'm looking around my room now, and I know there's probably a ghost or three here hanging around. And I always muse over that sweet little old lady that's just kind of hanging around just to be a sweet little old lady. Or maybe there's that chick that's a pervert that just likes to perv on watching people do adult stuff. You adults know what I mean. Anyway, let's all stay spooky. Let's all stay interesting. Hey, what do you find more frightening? Seeing a ghost, or not seeing a ghost because you don't believe in them? You don't believe we have a soul.